All here at the New York Stock Exchange alongside Tom White in our Chicago studio. Time now for our cash tag segment. For that, I want to bring in our next guest. We've got Andy Swan joining us with the team from LikeFolio, co-founder of LikeFolio. You've got new sentiment data on Meta. Andy, I took a glance through some of this data. What I found, I wasn't surprised by the trends as it relates to TikTok. It's been top of mind in its comparison to like Meta properties here. I will say I was surprised by where Pinterest stacks in this. So take us through your big picture takeaways first from this.
Yeah, the big picture takeaway, the biggest picture takeaway, I think, is that Meta, they're in the law of large numbers category now. With billions of users, it's extremely hard to grow at a very fast pace. Like TikTok, Pinterest, X, Reddit, they can grow much faster on a percentage basis than Facebook or even Instagram can. And so we see that when we look at the platform visits, year over year change in platform visits. TikTok and Pinterest, a little surprising to see Pinterest, but they've tapped into some cool new features and gotten a little bit of virality going. But those are the two growing the fastest. Instagram still being up is extremely encouraging, I think, for Meta, because that is where the money is made, and that is where you would think the law of large numbers would be holding them back. And so seeing Instagram up 12% year over year really tells us that Meta is doing a great job of continuing to expand on those extremely large audience numbers. Meta owns the audience, and Instagram is carrying the torch. From an ad visits perspective, which is where they make their money, and we look to see how much people are going specifically to the domains and websites where they would engage, where they would spend money to advertise to these different platforms. Customers, Reddit is absolutely running away with it. We talked about that last week. This is that company has really started to lean in on its AI tools and made its advertising platform significantly better. Meta ads overall slightly negative in terms of visits, but the problem with comparing these two numbers really is that Meta kind of already had everybody that wanted to advertise to social media users was either advertising on Facebook or Instagram already, so there wasn't much growth that was possible there. What we see from Facebook, Instagram, and Meta in general is a company that is extremely dominant in terms of a user base, in terms of eyeballs on the screen, and is doing a very good job of utilizing new tools and technologies to deliver higher ROI to its advertisers. So there's nothing screaming off the page about Meta's growth here, but they're doing a very good job of defending their position.
Yeah, Andy, Mark Zuckerberg just came out and they said grown to 3 billion monthly active users on Instagram just recently, and we've always talked about that. That's probably how they're going to continue to monetize this business and the ad side of their business as they competed with TikTok. Now, with TikTok coming over here, what effect will that happen? Then also, Andy, are you guys seeing any data on these new Ray-Ban glasses that go on sale tomorrow? I mean, I'm hearing pretty positive things, and they say, a lot of people are saying the future isn't going to be on your phone. It's going to be on what you wear and what you see. As far as the AI build-out goes, are you guys seeing any preliminary data on needs and wants of that product?
Yeah, very positive. Like you said, I think that what Apple Vision Pro tried to be, Facebook is actually delivering, and without a clunky headset that makes you look like you're a wannabe in a sci-fi movie or plugged into some sort of Matrix situation. Instead of the Facebook or the Meta glasses, the Ray-Bans, pretty comfortable. I've tried them on. They're just a little heavier than normal sunglasses. Otherwise, you wouldn't know the difference other than the interfaces that you're allowed to engage with, the video and photos that they can take. It's all really cool, and it does feel like you're living in the future, whereas the Apple Vision Pros and some of the old Meta Oculus headwear made you feel a little foolish, like you were blind to the rest of the world and becoming part man, part computer. So I think that they're on to something there. I don't know how long it takes to monetize or to, really create a meaningful audience compared to their 3 billion active users. But they've got it tells me that the company's still got technical chops that are extremely high and can deliver game-changing product, which I think is the main concern of Wall Street investors. Is kind of like, what next? Well, you're seeing it, and so far the response is very positive.
Let me ask you this, Andy. So I noticed, obviously, the trend, you did see an increase in your data on Instagram. I'm curious to know if that's about Reels engagement, because I remember when they were first leaning into Reels, they hadn't figured, they talked on their earnings call about how to monetize that, right? How to incorporate the advertising in that. I'm curious to know what you're seeing in terms of the data and how consumers are engaging with that. Is that growth because of Reels, right? And then the second question, or second part of that, is Threads. I'm curious to know if you have any data on Threads. I know it doesn't come up in this data set because, maybe they haven't figured out how to monetize that yet.
Yeah, I think Threads was kind of dead on arrival and hasn't gotten a pulse yet. We see no reason to track the data that we get on that when compared especially to the rest of the Facebook audience. I wouldn't be surprised if they kind of sunset that or move it into some of their other products in terms of a feature set. But you're exactly right on Reels. Reels is the dominant driver of growth. The algorithm has gotten significantly better, more addictive, which means more time spent on screen and more opportunities for advertisers to advertise, and more opportunity for those ads to be hyper targeted to someone who might engage with them or be persuaded by them. So we think what we're seeing from Instagram on the Reels product is extremely positive and likely to drive much higher ROI for its advertising clients, which means more money spent on the Meta platform advertising network.
It does seem like those Reels are more addictive now because you end up just scrolling from one after the other, and I've been guilty of that. I'm like, I've got to reduce my screen time, and Reels are certainly not helping with that. All right, Andy, we'll leave our conversation there for now. That's Andy Swan, co-founder of LikeFolio. Appreciate that great insight that you brought. Okay, now for the trading perspective on all things Meta. Tom, you, Kevin, I yield the floor to you. You got some good information there.